So this video is to talk a little bit more about the walkthrough that you guys just seen that I posted up. You know, when you look at something like this, like I love the opportunity, right? So this is what you would call a D-class property. And what a D-class property is, it means it needs a lot of work. It might not be in the right area, but this one in particular, it needs a lot of work. Essentially, the price right now, it's listed at 200,000. It's 6 units, and one of the units is a 200, or sorry, one of the units is not a unit, it's a house, and it's 4 beds, 2 baths. 2 units, and that's vacant, by the way. It's like vacant, boarded up, and needs work, as you guys seen in the video. Then there's 3 units on the curb, and that one has 2 bedroom, 1 bath, 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 1 bedroom, 1 bath, but these are all burnt and needs to be, developed up all over again and redone, right? And then in the back, there's 2 more units, and those are a 2 bed, 1 bath, and a 1 bed, 1 bath. So in total, we have 6 units, right? So $200,000, it wouldn't be bad, but the way I break down this deal and the way I'm looking at it is you're assuming a lot of risk. And this is just advice for you guys out there. If you guys are starting out, or maybe, if you're aged, then you probably know more than me, but anytime that you're going to be taking on a huge amount of risk, the reward has to be good. And what I mean for me, and you got to evaluate what that is, right? Because because this is going to have to be cash or really strategically financed, but either way, some of your money is going to have to go in it. And there's a possibility that something could go wrong and you could lose it all, right? So for me, if I'm doing this deal, I need to make 100% return. So if I put in, let's say hypothetically, like of another project, if I put $1 million in, then when the project's all done, like $1 million for everything, right? Rehab, everything, I need to be able to pull $1 million out. And I want to do it in 12 months, 12 to 6 months, 12 to 18 months, a year to year and a half. I want to be able to get my cash back out. And it has to be able to pay for the debt, pay for the taxes, pay for water trash, pay for maintenance, and still make me money. So it's like free money coming in. I want to build that cash flow. So for me, that's what this deal would be worth, is if I can make 100%. And so let's go over this deal. So once again, to reiterate, there's 1 house, 3 units that are burned, and 2 units that are rented. The rent on the back unit's not that bad. The 2 bedroom, 1 bath is $800. The 1 bedroom, 1 bath is $700. So with my numbers, what I concluded is $150,000. And that's what I would be willing to pay in cash for this property. Now, the home loan, or to fix the single home, well, let's take a step back. He has it listed for $200, but here's the problem. This house has 2 APNs to one lot. So it means the lot size is that big, but it has 2 individual APNs. That means you pay 2 separate taxes. And if you ever were to sell one, you can't, because it's on 1 lot. You could get a loan against it. I just did it. It was really difficult to get the title company or to get the lender to say, okay, well, what APN belongs to what. But if I were to buy this, first I'd have to go and I've already talked to the city. I've sent in a proposal. I hand drew out a sketch, and you know what? I'll post it all. I'll show you guys what I did and how I did it, and like if this deal is worth it, only if these terms are all met. So it's a lot of like groundwork. So essentially, like what I did is I asked, okay, in that lot, I need you guys to readjust the lot so the 1 home that's in the front is, by itself, and I could sell it. And then these units would be 5. And the reason why is, if it's 5 units or less, then you could get a 30-year fixed mortgage on it, right? Because it wouldn't be a business. Right now, as it sits at 6, it'd be a business. And plus, it's a strategic move for me on my part to be able to recoup that capital, is to sell that home. Now, that 4 bed, 2 bath, when I looked around the area, some homes were going for about 200, some were going for like, 175. I would deck it out with my team, and I would make it like super badass, like, nice flooring, backsplash, whole 9, and believe me, it needs a lot of work, but I believe I could get that home completely renovated for about $80,000. Now, I think it might be less than 80, but on these types of things, you always want to overestimate. So now total capital, 150 I would buy it for. 80K I would renovate it for. We're at $230,000 out of my pocket, gone. Now, I'm hoping that the payoff for that house, if I get it, you know, separate and everything, would be around 180 bucks. So then I would use that 180K to redo the 3 units. And that might cost about 20K more, and I'll explain why. So I also went to talk to the city about that. And the 3 units that burnt were really next to the curb. When you're building a new structure in a city, you got to go by new ordinance. It doesn't matter if you buy something that was built in 1400 or 1777 or whatever, you know, like, or 5 years ago. If you're building a new structure because it's burnt in a fire, you know, roof and everything, and you know, things are being removed, they're going to try to get you to follow the new code. Now, there is some loopholes, like here where I live in Hanford, or in the county per se. If you have 1 wall up and you're redoing 3, then they'll let you not, you know, have to move or do the setbacks, right? But if you tear everything down and redo it, it's going to be that. And this one, you might be able to get away with the 1 wall. But as of right now, I'm labeling it this, and it's going through the city to have a meeting to see what they could do. I would redo it and make them all 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom units, and it would be 2,400 square foot. Now, a contractor is going to charge you roughly, since you have a lot of it, you know, it's usually like $125 a square foot here in the valley. So at 125 square foot, it would be too much. It'd be 250, you know, plus, right? Because I remember we sold it for 180 and we're putting in 20, so we're now we have 200K to play with, and you're now in $250,000 cash on everything right now, right? But with that 200K, if you have your own guys and you do a lot of your own work, like if you know, submit the plans yourself and you save a little bit of cash on that, if you know, outsource and just, you know, and that's the beautiful thing is if you're paying with cash, you don't have time against you. You don't have a payment to make. So you could take your time, find the right person, do it. And there's some things that are of important to do quick. You want to get a roof on, you want to get walls on. Then in the inside kind of thing, you could take your time, you know, and do it, and you could save money. So I think I can do it for less than 200, but I'm overestimating for 200. So now the total amount you're in is 250,000, right? Because you bought it for 150, or we bought it for 150. We're going to put 80K in to rehab the first. So that would put you at 230,000. I'm putting an extra 20K to rehab the 3 units. Now, the 5 units, theoretically, and this is based off of comps in the area, it should appraise for roughly around $350,000. Now, I think it's going to be a little bit higher than that because it's 5 units and it's going to be market rent. But let's go with that because it's really conservative. And since everything's paid off and you paid cash, that means you will be able to pull out 80% of that $350,000, which leaves you with $280,000 that you get back. Minus the $250,000 you spent, you get to keep $30,000. Now, a loan on that 280K is going to be roughly $1,700, depending on the percentages that you're going to get for a 30-year fix, right? Because it's only 5 units. So that $1,700, and the total rent collected for this area, you're going to be able to make $3,900 because you have 4 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom units at $800 a piece. That's $3,200, and 1 unit that's 1 bed, 1 bath currently for $700. It's $39. Then you minus taxes, $300, insurance $250, management fees $390, water trash $400, payment $1,700. Total rent is $30.40, or cost is $30.40, and you know, payment, everything included out. And then your profit and then total rent collected is $3,900. Total profit you're left with is $800 a month, $860, you know, some change. So not only did you put in $250,000 and you made it, and then like this is going to be a year-long project, so it's probably going to take you about a year and a half. But in a year and a half, you made $30,000, you know, in profit. You got all your money back and made $30K on top, and you're going to get paid $860 a month while your property is not being paid off. And you know, every other year rents, you would increase it a little bit, so you're going to make money. You know, that's a great freaking deal. And that $30K, you know, it seems like a lot, but is really a cushion, right? And this is why I can't offer the 200, because then if you offer the 200, first off, you would still be trapped 20, right? Because your profit is 30, you're offering 50 more than you're trapped 20. That 30K is a cushion because, you know, let's say something goes wrong with that, with the 4-bed, 2-bath, you know, God forbid something happens, like there's something faulty or something you didn't see. You could do as much diligence as you want, but when you start ripping stuff up and you find something, you know, things will start adding up quickly. But let's say that goes fine. But then let's say you can't get someone to do it for, can't get someone to do the rehab for 200. It ends up costing you 250. Well, damn, now you're even negative 20K in, right? Because now you have 20K of equity trapped, which is fine, but because you're making, at the end of it all, which you're refi and all that, you have 20K trapped and you're making $800 a month after taxes and everything, almost 9. So it'll take you about 2 to 3 years to get your cash back. But as you can see, you took on a lot of risk to make, you know, only, you know, 9K. I mean, you could take $250,000 right now and buy something that's already, you know, decent and fair in shape, and you can make about 8-9K on it. So why would you take all this risk, do all this work, if you're going to be in the whole 20? You know what I mean? And so you have to look at that. So for me, if I'm going to put $250,000 to work, and I'm going to take on all this risk, for me, I have to make at least a minimum 100%. That 30K is a cushion, not just a projected profit, right? And it could, theoretically, it could end up being a lot more than that 30K, right? Imagine if the 4-bedroom home only cost, instead of 80, it only cost 60. So that's another 20. So now you're at 50. Let's say the rehab only cost 150. Well, shit, now you saved another. You get what I'm saying? But when you're going into this, you can't just think, oh, all positive. You can't think too negative, but it's like somewhere, like if this was very negative, this was very positive, I'd be somewhere like right here. Like I'm still going to be a little bit on the negative side, just because I've done a couple of these now, and there's always something that comes up, and there always will be, you know. And if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. This is a lot. It's a lot to gut. It's a lot to work in the sense of like mentally, you know, not physically, because you're going to have like contractors doing, you got to check up on them, but it's a lot of stress because if you're putting your hard-earned money to work and you're hoping everything goes right. You're hoping that, oh my God, when they pull that tile back, it's not like, you know, like the cement's not all cracked and is leading to the foundation. Like, you know what I mean? Like some crazy stuff, you know? So for me, it's only worth it if I get it at 150. The guy wasn't really the nicest guy, the selling agent to me. I tried to put an offer in. He wouldn't even, you know, give me the time of day. And just to say it, I'll be like, yeah, I'll put it up for 200. Will you take it for 2? And he was just like, whoa, you know, like, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll call you back. And it was just really, really rude. So, but I still wanted to do it because, and anything, I mean, if anything, I'm gaining the experience. I'm figuring this things out. And this is you know, me working with a new city, seeing how it goes, seeing what it is. And I get to know the market. It's not that far from here. You know, it was still a plus for me. And it took me about like an hour and a half to do this, write the sketch and all that. Right. So, you know, we'll see. I mean, I told him I'll probably give him a call. If I see it not sell, it's on the MLS. If I see it not sell in maybe, I don't know, a month or so, I'll give him a call again. But California's crazy right now, so I'm sure somebody will say, I'll give you $250 for it. I don't know, but I mean, because they're like, hey, I'll do the whole thing and I'll make the money back later and it'll appreciate a lot more. And also, it was really conservative with the appraisal at 350. It probably would be a lot higher, and you might be able to sell the house for more than 180. Like I said, those are all just pluses along the way. When I evaluated this, I'm evaluating it very modestly and very realistically. And on the underlying asset, I'm evaluating it at like not something that's not unrealistic, right? Like, oh, I'm going to sell the house for 250 and then I'll, you know, no, like, or I'm going to be able to rent this for 1,000. It's like, no, it's like in that market, in that area, it's a farming community. There's not really high-tech jobs, you know, like people are going to make what they're going to make, and you're in that market. So you got to tailor your numbers and everything to that market. Now, had this been LA, you know, yeah, the numbers are going to be a lot higher. Had this been SF, the numbers, because, you know, the wages are higher. Everything is higher, right? So that's just kind of like my deal breakdown on this. I'll post a picture up of the of all the numbers so you guys kind of see it, and of course you guys have now are gonna have already seen the video. I don't know if I'm gonna do it before or after, but you'll see like kind of like the walkthrough and just kind of how bad it really is, because it's really burnt. I've only had one burnt project before. That was the trailer home. I destroyed it, put a mobile home there. So, you know, we'll see. So I hope you guys learned something from this, and if you have any questions, please drop a comment or DM me.